that's for sure. And I feel like just, running some basic strategies, if you don't, might be the solution. Habata being banned out here, not exactly surprising. In fact, pretty commonplace, so that's going to be FaZe's ban. paiN going to get rid of Montaigne, and if they watch the previous match, I think that's probably why they're doing that. Makes a lot of sense. Montaigne was a very powerful force for the attacking team in the match we just watched, and getting rid of him, period, was going to be a good thing, no matter who you're up against. Valkyrie as the first defender.
The Monty ban also directly plays into Yuna.
True.
Yuna plays Montaigne a lot, an awful lot, and has FaZe usually play a Finka around it as well. Now, we did see a bit of Finka on the border matchup to start the day off in Black Dragons versus Team Liquid. Didn't really see quite so much of it for Ints and Nip, but I would imagine that we will probably see her trotted out a couple times when FaZe goes to attack in round number 7. In the meantime, we're going to see what paiN is going to be able to do, and of course, by banning the Monty, paiN not exactly using that shield as effectively as we will see from FaZe. As you mentioned, rounding it out, it'll be a Valkyrie and an Echo as the other two bans. And Valkyrie, quite a staple operator of FaZe as well. One of Mav's most played operators, and an operator who also just fits Bank exceptionally well. It's a huge map, one of the biggest in the entire game. You can stick a Valkyrie camera basically anywhere. And unless you run an IQ, it's very difficult to find them. We got to see a lot of glimpses in the Ints and Nip game just a few minutes ago of Valkyries who can stick their Valkyrie cameras in positions where you'd have no idea that you were under constant watch from the defenders. With that said, FaZe's first defense will go upstairs to CEO. An interesting place to start, but it does tend to stick with the pattern that a lot of teams have been using CEO much more often than in the past.
And yet Teller's still, I think, statistically the best site. If we're talking about win rate, I don't, again, have the stats exactly right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure. Now, FaZe bringing themselves upstairs, as you said, a little bit different, but still perfectly viable. Reinforcing all these windows here on the banana is going to make sure that you have plenty of room to rotate. Don't even need to get all of them. According to Yuna, he's just going to get a couple. Fair. Don't have to spend too much time getting those windows. Revolt's bringing the glass, going to be super useful in all likelihood on this site, especially playing the long angle from Garage. And this rappel here from FK1 is going to be also very valuable, as he can cut off a lot of rotation by that banana on an off angle that it's possible FaZe will not be expecting, however unlikely.
Interesting to note, just taking a second to point out these bans here. If you go all the way back to Rio, FaZe Clan bans Hibana on almost every single map they play, and Echo inhabits the role of their second most banned operator. So for FaZe, it's a bit routine when it comes to these sorts of things, which is a good thing. I mean, it lets FaZe basically control what operators they do and don't use, and oh man, you hit that shot. Once in a lifetime. GCR on Rappel, and that's Cameraman all the way from downtown with the Vector. It's a beautiful shot, and not often that you will see somebody be able to make that without an ACOG handy. So I'll start things off for FaZe here. But just touching very quickly on the bans. FaZe often telegraph their bans. They ban the two Japanese operators almost every single matchup. But what that also does is it allows your opponents to ban whatever they want because they don't have to really worry. They know you're going to ban one of those two operators most of the time. You have to work around that.
But we've seen it proven in the past that you can get away with it. I mean, look at G2. One of the most telegraphed bans for quite a long time in that Lion, and it was so consistent, but it didn't matter. And you could make the argument, yeah, but that's G2. At the same time, they did, it's a thing that they did, and it worked. It means it could work for anyone if you play it right. Now, Revolt's going to be pushing his way towards the main hall. I think he still has one smoke in hand, and that's going to be really important when he makes that push to meeting hall. You can see it's a much slower round being played out here than what we were seeing in the previous couple matches. Both of these teams really not willing to let go of the potential momentum. Well, GCR being eliminated early is going to hurt the actual site attack here for the attacking team. But at the same time, they can easily recover. And there's the start of said recovery as FK1 manages to take down Moringa.
A possible pinch here as well from the Glaz as Revolt amidst the cover of smoke will start to walk right in. Mav with his best Canadian homage, running an Evil Genius's skin on the UMP, and of course a banana as a nod to Canadian, the captain of the team. He'll take one down with Yuna getting a finish onto Gabrielos. Yuna getting another as FK had taken one down, and as the Glaz hops on towards the conference table to get everybody's attention, he might not have wanted it as it's cameraman who will pop right up and he'll end the meeting. Being called by the Russian sniper inside of the conference room. And that'll be FaZe taking it as we continue to see the defense run up the score here on Bank today.
That was nice.
What was nice?
The little word play there. It was like a three-pronged one. I like that.
I try my best.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you, Michael.
So, in that round, I think paiN got a little bit distracted. They had a clear-cut idea of what they were trying to do, but maybe a little too hesitant in their attempt, and also, again, people going off and engaging on their own angles, their own fights one at a time. That was a big problem. I mean, okay, for example, Revolt's the last one alive in that round. He made a pretty nice push. I like what he did into meeting hall. Establish control of meeting hall. Really important. But there was nobody to support him from his flank, over by Banana or at the entrance to reception. You could say it was, of course, because everyone was dead at that point. But even on the initial push, rather, there was nobody helping him push into meeting. And FaZe played it perfectly. Yuna fell off of meeting and actually pushed into the storage closet. But at the same time, it just was a clear lack of coordination on paiN's side. And it's something that I think they're going to definitely need to work on moving forward in this match. The confusing thing is, it was a lack of coordination, but not because they didn't want the coordination. They clearly were strategizing for it to, be easy to pull off. They just somehow failed regardless. Setting themselves up correctly, just not timing it all right. Again, you could lay that at the feet of FaZe getting pick after pick after pick.
As is a staple, as always, that Glaz is going to be so important on attacking Bank. But due to the unpredictability of where FaZe plays, the Glaz, I think, is just going to get brought out. Not that we don't see quite a lot of Glaz played by paiN Gaming in the hands of Revolts. I mean, it's a pretty common operator. You saw it as well. Glaz would be played quite a bit on FaZe Clan side of things with Psycho, if I remember correctly. But it's actually been quite a while since Nip has run it. As a stun grenade gets wasted, or rather used to burn half of an ADS, where Astro's going to play on server stairs as the Maverick from above will try to determine if somebody is playing up there. The sound that he hears of the ADS going off will alert him that there is very likely a body playing at the top of server stairs, will need to be dealt with at some point. Commonplace for teams to have someone there, but usually operator will be running a shotgun so that you can engage at close range. You've seen Ella played there with the shotgun, you've seen the Jaeger played there with the shotgun, a mute, and even a smoke, as paiN does their best job of droning out and setting up drones to save later. This is good drone economy, parking their drones in positions where they can cover possible flanks or catch members of FaZe on a rotate as paiN goes for their execute. But this will rely on paiN keeping a numbers advantage in hopes of being able to catch those members of FaZe as they rotate.
Again, a very slow attack from paiN. A little bit more justified attacking onto the basement slowly than CEO. At the same time, they need a little bit more initiative on their side here. We're coming down to the last minute. All smokes still in hand for the defenders. Evil Eye still in play. 2 C4s. I mean, this is looking pretty unwinnable right now for the attacking team. FaZe are in a great position to just lock this out. They've got Mav on the heartbeat detector calling out. He's still got his C4. They've got the C4 prepped from Yuna, ready to go. This isn't. They're not even going to need to worry about a fake.
This is as meta as it comes on Bank here. First C4 going to go on. It's going to catch its intended target on the GCR. And now you'll tag out Yuna. And in comes Mav with the other Nitro cell. A flash goes off and Moringa is there with one toxic canister to possibly go down. Revolt is going to need to do some good work here with that DMR of his. But Gabrielos goes down, so you've taken out another planter. Diffuser is down and will need to be fetched, as a second Nitro cell from FaZe will work out quite well. Revolts is watching. Astro coming in, takes out FK, and Revolts is there to take out Mav, but Astro, controller disconnected, as he's just sitting and will have to go get some batteries from the family cupboard. He gets destroyed by the skeleton key, and Cameraman pops up to eliminate spawns, as it's FaZe Clan taking yet another round. It's 2 in a row, and the defense continues to do their things, as we anticipate, with a hard breacher ban here on Bank.
So, in the last match, we saw exactly 0 meta plays like that from either team.
Yes.
It was completely off meta. They were just playing very aggressive, very different. And it worked out for neither team on attack. Here, we see paiN Gaming playing very heavy meta, as you said, but playing it poorly. And against a team like FaZe, who understands the meta better than most. So, really well done to FaZe to lock that out. It was extremely clean. I think clean is the way I would describe that round for them. Everything was timed perfectly. The C4s, the gas canisters, the flank from the Jaeger on the main stairs. paiN Gaming, on the other hand, last minute before they even start pushing server.
I always, the word that I typically default to and rely upon using, almost like a crutch, is it's rhythmic. You open up the wall, you go into plant, you try to bait out a toxic
Systematic.
monster. Systematic is good. I think rhythmic does apply really well because there is a rhythm to it. You go in, you try to bait out a toxic canister, you can possibly toss in a smoke, you want to burn any errant ADSs that might be around with your flashes, you're going to have the Thermite go back in, bait out another toxic canister, C4 might come out, try to avoid that, maybe you have a Monte, etc., etc., etc. We don't need to necessarily go through it in absentia because we see it happen quite regularly.
Yeah.
But basically, it always tends to happen the same way, and that's totally okay. It's those little micro adjustments that teams make. Maybe Glaz looks from a certain angle. Maybe you hold off on your smoke. Maybe you are able to bait out a C4. Maybe you have one person late flank through garage. Maybe you have a drone set up to catch somebody playing inside a vault. Maybe you drop through the vault hatch itself and try to catch them from behind.
Right, you're describing top tier siege play.
Oh my god, I am. I had no idea. Michael.
You guys should see his face right now.
I am aghast. But no, basically the point that I'm trying to make is that there are tiny micro adjustments that teams make mid to late round that make all the difference. And that even though something does tend to play out very same. We said it was very meta. Pulse playing inside of gold. You've got a mirror window there. There's going to be a smoke playing. You got C4s in hand. That's so common. But you got to make tiny little things as an attacker that differ because the defense is going to win if you don't.
Yeah.
Even in that case, the defense still won. So, I mean, you need to...
It's a really good way to put it. I do think that the paiN were trying to commit to that the standard meta, though, and it worked heavily against them because I don't think they're nearly as practiced in it as FaZe. And there's something to be said about breaking away from the meta instead of trying to come up with your own little intricacies to the attack. What we saw from in the previous match was just that. They were both teams, Ints and Nip, were trying to break away and do their own thing. And it might benefit paiN in this situation to do just that. It might not. It might be to their detriment. It might be even worse. But that last round, pretty substantially in FaZe's favor.
Yeah.
Both teams are playing meta. C4 actually caught mid-air there by FK1. Excellent shot there. He's also able to get Cameraman. Revolts, his teammate, will eliminate Astro as well. So, FaZe, first time ever, looking to lose a round.
You almost just said a bad word when you said FK1's name.
Oh, no, actually, the reason I stumbled... No, the reason I stumbled is I was going to say FaZe.
Oh, okay. So I was like, oh,
no.
That's another F word there, you know. So it's tough. It is tough.
No, when you're in the thick of
FaZe. Yeah, okay. Sure thing there. What you think, bud? I'm on you.
Flashes from above. You gonna take it?
I'll take it. 50 seconds left. Flashes from above as Yuta's going to watch through all these holes that have been opened up in Archives Towers to try and give the defense a fighting chance. And it's going to be Moringa trained with the shotgun, but not quick enough. He's very low on HP, so wisely he has to turn tail and run. Both he and the Mira playing on site. That's Yuna. Going to have to just try and bide time. Mav creeping on up. He's full HP and could possibly be the linchpin of this defense now, as he's got an opening from open area in through the side office. He's now going to look all the way towards elevators. Yuna's going to get down from the wall, getting blown open, and FK1 waltzes right in. Moringa and Mav picking up 2 of their own to try and close that gap. paiN will need to rotate with Revolt heading towards the main lobby. Mav takes out Spawns.
There's no time.
And they need to grab the diffuser, but they only have 2 seconds.
Oh!
And Moringa pops up and knocks them down with the SMG-11. Celebrating the festive season with the icing sugar all over the casing of the gun. And that's as sweet a kill as you are going to get to end that round. And FaZe will take it. And for the 3rd time in a row, we see the defense go up 3-0 to start off the match for the day.
Jeez. That is absolutely brutal there from FaZe, a round that without question should have been paiN's. The diffuser being down though in the main lobby and so little time on the clock is going to negate your advantage in every way. I think the true fault there for paiN, the reason they didn't win it, is the same reason they've been struggling in the previous 2 rounds. Absolutely abhorrent time management. Seriously, I mean, I don't know what's going on with paiN right now, but their attacks have been molasses slow. And it's something they're definitely going to need to improve upon starting now if they want to have any hope of scraping away a couple rounds in this map. Another thing to touch on when it comes to time management, we're dealing with Bank right now. This is one of the bigger maps in Siege. And you really do need to pace yourself properly if you want to have a hope in winning attacking rounds. It's very important. paiN's attacks have been the most timid we've seen all today. Doesn't matter the map or the team. Something there, again, they're going to need to fix. But overall, great clutch there from Moringa. And really got to hand it to FaZe winning that one out. I was Mav on the pulse, right, by open area?
Correct.
So Moringa and Mav. Good job.
And that was just paiN, who had set up their drones in the previous round downstairs, and they looked like they had really good coverage. Did not have it whatsoever for that round.
Yeah.
They did not know where the flank was coming from Mav. They didn't know that Moringa had rotated into lobby, which we had seen. Both he and Yuna basically evacuated the site after they lost control of CEO above because they knew they were going to be picked apart from the various attackers who had complete control above. And with the soft destruction that had been done originally to enable FaZe to defend better, ended up working against them when they lost that map control, which is essentially how things work out at a very macro level in Rainbow Six. So, when you look at the CEO defense back upstairs, a perfect start to this game for FaZe Clan. It doesn't even look like Spawns is being droned in. He's just going to walk all the way over towards Skylight Stairwell. He knows that there's a rotate in towards open area. All the while, he's going to have one member of the team not too far off, make that 2. Revolts and FK1 up the spiral stairs, watching the double doors in towards Banana. Knowing that there's that yellow fluorescent color. Revolts will see one body up in that Banana doorway, also known as an office up top. It's going to be FK1 who's just going to peel back, and the glass of Revolts will move just to try to get additional coverage, but Mav starts things off by taking out the buck of Spawns, who we'd mentioned earlier was just entering solo downstairs.
The smoke really amazingly poorly placed, actually above the doorway, landing on just a little bit of a lip there, and because of that, Yuna's going to be able to take down Revolts. FK will refrag, so that's a very important refrag, but at the same time, the glass gone is going to be a detrimental hit to the attack. FaZe in a great position now, and they're just waiting for the rest of the attackers to push their way in. And again, paiN are taking this awfully slow. Going to be rotating GCR to those north windows. He could potentially do some serious damage there, especially as Ash, great operator to go on Repel and move around, try to get those kills.
I mean, you've got a Glaz, you've got an Ash, and you've got a Zofia. You got to be faster. And I mean, as you said, GCR on these windows can deal quite a bit of damage. The Ash might be a little bit slow, but at least takes out Moringa in this capacity. There's going to be a run out from Mav, who had overhealed himself, so it was obviously deliberate and can be a very good distraction. Here's you say goodbye to GCR. On the flank is Astro. There's some pings going down as cameraman takes out FK1, and Gabrielos on top of the Banana. Just on the outside. Well, he's gone. He'll drop the diffuser, and FaZe will take their 4th in a row, as that's a great flank from Astro, enabled quite heavily by the marks onto both remaining defenders, and good coordination from FaZe there. We'll give them CEO for the 2nd time and still keep paiN off of the board. I'm
still hesitant to call this a FaZe match, just as much as I'm hesitant to say that Bank is being defender-sided today. It clearly is today defender-sided, but as you stated earlier, statistically, this is supposed to be one of the maps that is the most well-balanced in Siege. So I understand why it, it would look like it's defender-sided, but it's not necessarily the map itself as much as it is the teams playing it right this minute. Just in the same in the previous match, it was the same sort of deal. Both teams really struggling to win attacks. And thus far, I will say that FaZe seems to have a substantial leg up. Not necessarily dealing with a defender-sided sort of deal right now. From my perspective, I'm honestly seeing paiN really struggling with their pacing, struggling with winning gunfights, struggling with their teamwork, struggling with a lot of things right this minute. That could come down to them and their map preference. Maybe they aren't really happy playing Bank, but whatever it is, FaZe are definitely just winning right now off of their merits, and not so much the map.
This looks more like the FaZe that we had seen last season after Yuna stepped in. If you recall, the team didn't drop a single matchup after Yuna came in until the loss to G2 in Rio. That includes BR6. So it was quite a triumphant, I guess, debut for Yuna onto the team, and seemed to be the missing part of what the team was looking for. So since then, FaZe only had a few minor stumbles. They had it in the previous matchup, but they look to be back on track here. And this also looks to be a bit more of the paiN that we have come to know as of last season, the one that struggled to really make their way up the scoreboard and ultimately ended up beating Guidance for that final spot to come back into Pro League in relegation. So we'll see what FaZe can put together as they go back downstairs to CCTV, and paiN will need to hasten their advance. Something that you touched on last round. I think it's really, really clear, but
I've touched on it every round.
The problem with CCTV is this doesn't tend to be a site that plays out quickly. You usually are getting that diffuser off in the dying seconds because of all that utility that you need to basically bleed dry from the defense.
No, you're absolutely right. The big problem here is what you're talking about, and it was the same thing we saw the last time that paiN attacked the bottom floor, because FaZe are playing pure meta. As we discussed, they've got all of the kit they could need within the bands to defend this basement if we're talking about a meta attack, which means you have to fake it out and waste the C4 and gas canisters. But you're not going to have time at the pace you're going at right now. So, yeah, paiN need to pick it up.
Oh, Astro finally spots the drone, but that was one that paiN had saved previously at the bottom of the main stairs, looking towards the garage entrance as a possible flank grenade or a possible flank drone to see. As a flash grenade will go off as an exothermic charge opens things up, and here we go. A minute to go, and the symphony will begin, as I said, rhythmic. Waiting with Yuna prone to try and get the C4 last time around. FaZe were successful on both of their C4 attempts that were hucked out from that half wall. It's going to be another flashbang that's going to go off just next to Yuna, and a frag grenade goes in, and he's just going to stay completely prone. Waiting to see. Spawns might have another grenade, and this could be the downfall of Yuna. Moringa not too far off, and depending on where, if Spawns does indeed have a second frag grenade, this could be very difficult. Yuna completely blinded as a toxic canister will choke off the advance of somebody dropping. And there goes another frag grenade, and it's going to hit Yuna, but he'll remain unscathed. Just a tiny bit of HP as C4 will miss. So, Revolt's doing cover fire. This will look much worse for FaZe as they're also going to lose Astro to the Mav. But Mav and his C4, a great mark, and that'll be the defender going down. GCR will be tagged in, and cameraman watching the bottom of main stairs. He's going to try to get somebody else there. Mav picks out Revolts, falls to spawns, and Diffuser goes down quite successfully. And the best round for paiN so far continue to play itself out. 2v2 with Yuna and very low HP means that FaZe at a disadvantage, also having to work against that timer. This cameraman will walk up, head towards open area, but as a Maestro, he'll be making an awful lot of noise. He's going to see if there's any coverage on the hatch above. It's going to be Spawns there. Who's going to win the fight as cameraman looks the wrong way? And Yuna, almost shooting at the falling body. But he is just one tiny whisper away from the grave, and he's going to circle underneath the hatch, looking for the buck. In vain, the pistol out from the buck. Yuna will get the kill, but he's running out of time. GCR in perfect position. This is going to be a lockout. FaZe losing the round. Yuna understanding that the time has run out. And finally, stalemate that we had seen. The defense here will be broken with paiN Gaming winning their very first attacking round victory. It comes at a pretty good time. They'll need to mount a comeback. But they do have the benefit of going to defense next. Still, 4-1 for FaZe.
So that attack, honestly, I'm really impressed by paiN. Because it's true, they were playing that really slow in the lead up to the actual start of the juggle downstairs, trying to waste the utility. They had very little time. They started with a minute, I believe it was, when they actually finally thermited that wall. Impressive that they managed to waste one of the C4s. They lost somebody to the other C4, but they didn't let that get them down. The biggest play there was Revolts, dropping through the hatch, using his smokes to cover that drop, and then also disabling the smoke himself. And then from there, he also disrupted the rest of the defenders and delayed their push in to deny the defuse plan. As well, we had the push down the main stairs, the Maverick. Didn't really accomplish much, but it was a good distraction, if anything. So well coordinated from paiN, and the timing there had to be perfect. And it was. It was perfect from paiN. All of the cogs did their part, and thus the machine ran. The attack was successful, despite FaZe trying to claw their way back into that.
The play from Spawns as the buck to get those 2 grenades down and somehow not take out Yuna, but reduce him to such a tiny bit of HP.
Yeah.
Very, very frustrating, I would imagine, from paiN's side of things, and almost assuredly could have made that a much smoother transition towards the plant for paiN. But it's a good thing that they had Revolts there as the coverage for the Glaz, who took out Yuna and deprived that one C4 that was on the team. Now, mind you, the C4 did get tossed out from Yuna. It just didn't hit anything, and then he was finished off shortly thereafter. Mav came in, his C4 did hit. But at that point, I think paiN understood they had broken the hold over on the vault side and could clamp down. Astro was caught as he was trying to get back to site. And then it's very difficult if you don't have a numbers advantage for the defense, because you have to rotate all the way up to where Yuna is right now inside of admin office, because you know, almost always know there's going to be somebody playing that hatch, which is where Spawns was after the fact. In fact, the Buck had never actually lost his place on that first floor, which has made it so especially difficult for FaZe in the post plan.
So now transitioning to Teller's Archives as the next site here. Also, I believe, going to be the final site for FaZe, as we will transition to the second half after this. FK going to start things off with a kill onto Cameraman upstairs. Really seemingly an easy one. No challenge at all. FK took damage, but it was from a Legion trap.
Critical of the speed at which paiN was being able to enter and find the frags that they needed to. They've done a much better job at 1 minute and 15 seconds getting in, taking control of CEO to a certain extent, and being very close to being able to exert that pressure onto the floor, or on what would actually be the roof over top of the heads of FaZe Clan down below. All the while, the pulse of Mav is still going to be able to call all of this for his team, and that is going to give them a little bit of breathing room as paiN continues to assemble over on the CEO side of things upstairs.
Talked about how paiN needed to be more efficient with their attacks, and they have apparently heard us, made that adjustment. Good job to them, clearing out what they know they need. That top floor control is going to be so instrumental when they actually go for the push into the site.
Gumine will get triggered, and that's going to be Yuna there to clean up onto Spawns, as we're going to see a very similar position from both Moringa and Yuna playing inside of site, using that soft destruction above to try and hold off paiN Gaming. Now, last time around, FaZe were able to win it because of the scramble over towards the main lobby. Revolts has made his way into the main lobby much faster. And unbeknownst to him, there's a Legion that is prone over by the teller's desk, just waiting to jump up. I don't know if Astro's got the calls or the information.
Yeah, this is dangerous for both players. I mean, it really just comes down to who's looking where when both of them are peeking each other. And it could go either way. Yuna's going to get FK1 though, and here's a lot of players attacking this main lobby. And you can see the Ash gets down, but will be picked up. Revolts though, the only one actually currently in play for his team, as Moringa takes down his teammate. Moringa's in the main lobby, yet again in a really awkward situation and hard for the attackers to deal with, but Revolts will finally deal with him. But look at the time. There's no potential for a plant, and all this Mira needs to do is stay alive. FaZe takes the round. 5-1, first half definitely goes to FaZe, and we will transition.
If you're going to be coming in with paiN holding that diffuser, you need to make sure that the person there has a proper escort, because the target prioritization of Astro behind the desk at Tellers was good. I mean, he popped up. He was able to take the push that was coming in towards the teller's door with the metal detectors on it. It's impossible to know who has that diffuser. So because of this, Astro got lucky, but by doing so, dropped the diffuser. Moringa, not too far off, sees the diffuser down and is able to call it. Now Astro immediately gets refragged, but Moringa just needs to sit and waste time, and that's all he did. You saw the hesitation from the Glaz having to go in and deliberately take out Moringa because the diffuser needed to be fetched. All that left was Yuna inside of the B site, very far off, and unable to be fragged out in time, despite the fact that paiN had a big advantage in terms of numbers in a 2v1. The Clock was their bigger adversary than Yuna. And it now puts us in a position where, very similar to what we saw from the Ints and Nip game, FaZe are very firmly in the driver's seat. If the theory holds that it's just simply the defense winning because the defense should be winning, then we're going to see a comeback here from paiN over the next 6 rounds. What's really telling is if FaZe is able to take this round or lose this round and then immediately take the next, very similar to what we saw from Nip, that could spell a lot of trouble for paiN. But Theory Crafting didn't get us very far in that second matchup because Ints almost brought it all the way back, so I'll reserve my speculation for post-game where I can then turn around and say, yeah, I thought that all along. I was right to begin.
Almost is the key word there, though. We did see... No, for Ints and for Nip. We did see Nip actually win it out in the end, so that, I think, is the most important thing. Even if it takes you the whole length of the match, I mean, and it has for all but one of the matches so far in LATAM, it's still a win. I really like the Blackbeard pick here, actually, from FaZe. We don't really see him very often, but I feel as though he's going to be one of those operators that's going to help you punch through this bog that most teams seem to be having on attack, as you just win 1 or 2 fights. That's what Blackbeard does. He's going to win 1 or 2 fights, and you will give your team a huge advantage, especially on a map like Bank, especially even more so attacking the basement.
Nobody on paiN Gaming playing those server stairs, which is not uncommon, but I mean at the same time, it's not uncommon, so to speak. Different teams play it completely differently, but Cameraman is sitting in the middle of this hatch. It looks like he's just going to drop the moment it goes. Oh no, there he goes. He's going to get off. I was going to say, is he just going to hot drop right in? And this has got to be some of the most efficient blowtorching that I've actually seen from anybody. That was quite fast that we saw Cameraman be able to take that hatch inside of admin office. We mentioned that this push takes quite a while. You called it juggling. I think that's a perfect way to describe it, is that you have to basically wait out all of the smoke canisters, all the toxic canisters, and then the C4s as well. And FaZe is about on tempo here. Revolts will completely miss that C4, and it will accomplish next to nothing.
That was a beautiful fake out there from the Thermite. I have to say, he juggled that perfectly. 2 seconds on the defuse, and then right off dodges the C4.
What changes are we going to see here in the final minute is you've still got Spawns quarterbacking this push inside, or quarterbacking this defense inside of Gold, being able to give all of the information to paiN, which will greatly aid them, but you know exactly how FaZe is going to try to play this out. The big difference maker for me is going to be what happens with Mav's C4, or what happens with Mav's Blackbeard. The C4 will connect onto Moringa, who gets downed and will need to be picked up, but still FaZe Clan no casualties. This time around it'll be Yuna in there with Moringa actually on just 1 HP, as Mav will cut off FK1, and there you go, the Blackbeard doing everything he needs to do. Astro finding a kill of his own, GCR getting one for paiN, will be both teams getting the kill, but Diffuser, most importantly, goes down for FaZe. So Revolt's under that hatch up towards admin, and this is going to be the issue. You're going to need somebody from paiN, who are already at a numbers disadvantage, to come up and patrol the hatch, but they've got somebody up there. GCR is up top in admin, watching that hatch, but he gets felled by Moringa, who inside of open area with 1 HP is basically a ghost of himself, trying to keep FaZe from losing this matchup. Revolts goes down, but Yuna, easy on that trigger finger. He guns him down, leaving just Spawns inside of open area with a quarter of that defuse left. He's running out of time. 7 seconds may not seem like a lot, but it's going to be exhausted, and that'll be FaZe taking the round, as there's no time for paiN to get back. Even though Spawns is able to get Astro, it's in vain. As I said, no chance for paiN to be able to come back here, and FaZe will move on to match point.
The star of that round to me was clearly Moringa. Now, he managed to get some kills too, but the biggest thing that he did was juggle the C4 and the gas canisters perfectly.
2 C4s.
2 C4s and 3 gas canisters and 0 kills for paiN from all of those. All they did was delay for about a minute, maybe less, honestly. So, and that was all Moringa. He survived all of that. So really props to him for juggling it perfectly and then managing to allow Yuna to plant the diffuser after he saw Moringa get put down to pretty low HP through that process. So he's not going to commit to that plant any longer. But all the same, he did his job. Really well done. FaZe playing the meta perfectly. Again, I think it really comes down to this. If we're talking about pure meta and strategy on that level, paiN Gaming are struggling to compare right now to FaZe. And that's the simplest way I can put it. It was the same thing when FaZe was on defense. It's repeating itself now on attack. There's nothing else to say. And I think, and it sounds weird, but I think paiN in this situation, in the long run, I think they should grind the meta. But in this situation, I think it might benefit them to try and break away from the norm.
10 seconds
do something a little bit different. Try to catch FaZe off guard. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But right now, whatever they're doing is not working.
The Monty ban will be interesting from paiN's perspective. I think it's a great ban for paiN.
Yeah.
I think it's going to give them a pretty good fighting chance to be able to stop FaZe. But you really only have to worry about it straight out of the gate when you're attacking CCTV downstairs. Now, keep in mind, the way that FaZe plays this Monty is pretty simple. They take the panel that faces the east server rack. So it's the panel that you don't actually see a lot of teams take. So when most teams open up the server wall in towards CCTV, they're going to take the one that faces the stairs. FaZe will take out the one that faces the server rack. They'll put Monty in front to hold an angle and basically stare at where the mirror window is going to be, and then have the fake out happen behind them. That's going to be the big thing here for FaZe. But they don't have the Monty at their disposal, so it was good to see FaZe adapt differently and take out the standard panel and then bait it out, as you said. Big credits to Moringa there, and he did it without Yuna on the Monty. So for FaZe in their second crack at CCTV downstairs, I'd imagine that paiN were probably looking to see the way that FaZe was going to play it out without the Monty there, usually to be able to stop the defenders from being able to take out Moringa in the post-plant or in the plant phase the way he usually does.
So, ladies and gentlemen, take notes.
I can't get over how fast he does this.
How to open a drop down as Maverick. Less than his
so
finish.
Fast.
Cameraman does it right, man. And this is the sort of thing that you see prevalent in like the highest level. Not just Pro League, but the highest level of Pro League. When players, they're given a role, they practice every facet of that role. It's not just, oh, hey, yeah, play Maverick, open, drop down. No, it's play Maverick, open, drop down, and know how to do it the right way.
Yeah. One exothermic charge used on that south panel. So there's 2 panels that you can see. There's the one on the south and there's the one on the east. The eastern panel is the one that faces the server rack, and the southern panel is the one that faces the stairs towards CCTV. This is actually a dangerous place for Astro. Your feet hang over that ledge. You can actually get shot, and I think
pretty easily.
He's aware of that, which is why you see him now trying something different. That's a big yikes and a half, as the mayor of Oopsville is currently re-elected, and that's going to be Yuna with the grenade going off. Congratulations on your victory, Yuna, but not exactly the type of thing that you want to win.
Nor the time or place.
And it's going to be a big problem as well for Yuna, because those grenades up in the admin office prove to be so beneficial to try and push the Mira that's going to be playing inside of red. It's going to be where Cameraman is currently looking, as he's opened up one hatch all the way and created death holes in the other. It also means that Moringa's not going to have the same coverage that you saw from Yuna. It was actually Yuna who was getting the diffuser down in the previous round, and what ultimately won it for FaZe.
So far we've seen paiN be really good at holding on to their utility, and because of that, there's not enough time for FaZe to get this plant with the utility in play. The C4 will land, and GCR upstairs will get a kill of his own. You're going to see Mav start to go downstairs to try to support his last teammate of Astro, potentially get that defuse plant, but no, Astro's coming in from garage. There's no time left, and the defenders will win on just that time alone. paiN Gaming holding out to the very end, and they will get their first round in this second half, totaling 2 throughout the match. Now, well done to paiN, I have to say, holding on to the utility. It's a big mistake there from FaZe not being able to waste the C4 this time around. It also seemed like FaZe was a little bit less lethal in the actual prodding that they were doing of paiN. I mean, it started, I think, with Yuna nading himself. That was where it all started to go wrong for FaZe. They needed those nades to land in Red Hall disrupt the C4 or maybe get the smoke or just somehow disable that red hall, allowing for the fuse plant just inside of server wall. But it didn't happen. In fact, Yuna killed himself. He didn't just miss the nade.
So yeah, that kind of thing really sucks. It really sucks for your push.
No, but that was
like you're trying to do that, and it's just
hang
like,
on.
Man, that's a bummer.
That was the tool that FaZe were clearly relying on to go in for the plant, and it wasn't there.
Well, I mean, you get the coverage. You see the way that a lot of teams play it. When you have that Mira in that position, unless you directly reinforce the wall right next to them, there's a bank cart that's turned sideways that you can bounce the frag grenade off.
Right on top of
and right on top of the Mira on the other side. And if you don't time that correctly, or you miss your throw, you're essentially doomed. Also, you can possibly toss a grenade down through the hatch that we saw cameraman looking through that he hadn't fully taken care of, once again, all the way down into red, if you bounce it correctly. Now, it's a bit more of a stretch to do it that way.
And also, the hatch wasn't fully open.
And that could have been the issue that happened there. But
yeah,
all things considered, paiN were able to respond to what FaZe threw at them, and after FaZe essentially gave themselves a mortal blow, paiN were able to still be patient. And it would be very easy for a lot of teams to get very aggressive and try to outfrag the opponent, but it was a perfect hold from paiN, given the circumstances that FaZe found themselves in. Now we're going to go back to CEO, but this time it's going to be paiN on defense on CEO, whereas before we'd seen FaZe go to it on 2 separate occasions. Both times the defense were successful. It and Tellers are the 2 sites where the defense is perfect so far. If you're paiN, you're hoping that's going to play out the same. On FaZe, you're bringing almost the exact same utility, but you're not bringing a Maverick this time. You're bringing a Zofia because that's what you need, and an Ashe from cameraman there as well.
They don't really need Maverick on any site but the bottom floor. The reason you bring him is as a substitute for Habana, because Habana's not going to exist on Bank. It's rare that she goes unbanned on this map. So yeah, I mean, if you know you're not going to be attacking the bottom floor, you may as well not bring him. You can, though. He's still very useful. Like, he can open some murder holes here on these walls right in front of Yuna, but you'd rather have it thermited. And it makes it more difficult to thermite when you open up little holes everywhere. So, speaking of thermiting, Moringa is going to open up that south wall and have complete access to CEO.
Surprised there wasn't a potential impact trick there from Gabrielos. It looked like he might have been able to get it with the tiny bit of the wall above it, but the thermite charge was down far enough. I think the impact still probably would have gotten it. That's where you see a lot of lesions, and some teams have run smokes there with the impact grenades as well. So one of the CEO walls being opened up by FaZe will allow them much easier access in. The big worry for FaZe right now is that Mav is going to have to pin down roughly half of this site as the Blackbeard on Repel, and he's very vulnerable to a run out from main lobby, and there you go. Sprinting out, Gabrielos is going to jump out of the windows and head for the hills as he's going to be possibly refragged by FaZe, but he doesn't know where anybody is, and he's going to be exposed this entire time. 40 seconds left means that we're going to see the castle wasting quite a bit of time. He's going to give his team quite a bit of breathing room. Finally taken out by Astro, but that's a costly maneuver from FaZe. That means that Zofia's going to need to get back, and she doesn't have the advantage of a lot of speed at her disposal. Moringa, a great shot. There are 2 separate walls to take out Revolts. GCR waiting to see what he can accomplish. He'll peek up and get Astro on top of the spiral stairs. Looks for a second, and GCR snapping on the cameraman. So it's 2v2. Moringa trying to walk into sight. Yuna is there. Very low HP. The dock of GCR will need to continue as he will have to pick up a 4K. He sees Yuna. We'll have to pick off Moringa as Moringa very vulnerable. He'll fall off, and GCR, a monstrous clutch and an incredible performance in the post plant. He'll get every single person that he finds. A victory hop out the window as paiN will take their 2nd round in a row. The defense still doing quite well, as we'd imagine, in FaZe, still searching for that win to put this match away.
What a 4K from GCR. The clutch to boot, as you said, really well done. And another one of those rounds where on match point, the team who should win the round, should end the match, just doesn't. The same thing we saw a couple times in the Insnip match on this very same map. And that was because of Drunks managing to clutch out quite a lot of rounds for Ins. But here we go. GCR now the hero for paiN. Props to him. And keeping it alive for at least one more. Teller's office, the next one. for paiN to defend. There's not a whole lot to say about that last round. We should have seen, clearly it was a FaZe round. We probably should have seen from FaZe a flank watch for the run out on the north windows. Those north window runouts are really predictable these days. I think they became meta like early last season, and since then have been, yeah, the sort of thing that you need to keep an eye out for. The problem with that is it's hard to commit somebody to watching you run out there. And there's so much distance to cover. If you're going to watch that run out, you have to run all the way back inside, and it takes a lot of time. That's why you usually see the attackers just leave somebody out there on the rappel and try to do as much damage as he can before he gets taken down. Either way, the attack coming from the skylight was very substantially successful. I mean, I'm as surprised as you that we didn't see any attempt at impact tricking. I feel like that is a tool that paiN could at least try to use. Could give them pretty substantial power. The rest of the push from FaZe was beautifully executed, playing all the angles properly. So especially Moringa, that long angle kill he got from the top of skylight. You would have expected that to be enough, especially considering every single time FaZe lost a player, there was a refrag. Except for the case of GCR, who have to get 4 kills. And that was really all it is GCR racking up those kills from the perfect clutch position all the way by reception. And
there was, as you said, there was nobody there for a refrag. You know, like GCR was in a position where everybody was kind of running and they didn't really anticipate the dock to be there because of the fact that it was so late. FaZe didn't have the chance to really get fully coordinated. They got caught as they were trying to rush towards the site. Great drone from Astro, as now he's just going to rattle away through one of those lobby windows, trying to do some soft destruction above, as FaZe Clan's priority is going to be to take CEO. We are attacking Tellers and Archives from FaZe's perspective, or defending Tellers Archives from paiN Gaming's perspective. And because of this, you're going to have to try to take care of CEO. We saw the reverse happen for FaZe Clan, where they would sit underneath and try to dare paiN to enter into CEO and have holes created. That would cause some headaches for paiN Gaming on the attack. We'll see if the reverse or the inverse is true now. GCR, the hero of the previous round, is just going to sit upstairs with Gabrielos hopefully feeding him information as the pulse below. That cardiac sensor being pivotal as FaZe takes 90 seconds and still quite heavily droning things out, as they know that there's 2 bodies upstairs at minimum.
Just looking to pinch those players, but those 2 bodies you talked about are being exceptionally passive, and that's exactly what they need to do right now. Unlikely that either of them is going to win many of these fights that are being presented with. So playing slow, playing passive, the right call, especially as we come down to the very last minute of this round. GCR and FK doing a great job at delaying. And FaZe now are the ones who need to work on their time management. Not enough information being gathered here. You can see the drones finally coming in, but they're taking too much time. Revolts will take down Astro. Mav able to refrag though. FK1 eliminated, and the start to top 4 control here for FaZe. But again, 34 seconds left. That's not enough time to work with this top 4 control. So you've established it, but it's not got any value any longer because there's no time to open up the floor and start applying pressure to the anchors. And what time you do have, you can open the floor, but eventually the defenders know they can move back into those positions that you are rendering useless, because you have to push the site. Moringa gonna take down GCR, and Revolt's a beautiful C4 through the wall, but he exposes himself to Moringa in the main lobby. Again though, time is at the essence here. It's just 1 defender that spawns, but he's in a great position, and it's all Moringa in a 1 versus 1 as cameraman is down. But oh no, a beautiful plant from Moringa. It spawns, plays it so poorly, not realizing that it's a 1 versus 1 on the 0-0-0. He could have won that round, but he was just too cautious. Good job to FaZe, finally locking it out thanks to Moringa and his excellent play there in the dying seconds of that round.
Overall, a very impressive matchup from Moringa, all things considered. Not always somebody who's going to be stealing the show, but coming in very pivotal moments, not just contributions on the scoreboard, out-fragging some of the typical entries of FaZe, but also just really coming in the moments where they needed him the most. So that's FaZe taking it